If you guys haven't been keeping up with the saga, that is me having to replace my keyboard. I also mentioned that my mouse got hit by the coffee as well. So today, we're going to look at the matching mouse to go with the keyboard that I just did, which was the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro, 75%. That's the one. Again, rolls right off the tongue. Razer, maybe you should work on that naming scheme. But today, we're looking at my favorite mouse, but wireless and also pro, and that is the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro 35K. I understand what the 35K on this one is, a little bit better than the other one. So let's get right into it. Hello and welcome. My name is Wolfie. You're watching GreaterThanPie, and today we're going to be unboxing this mouse, this Pro mouse, which surprisingly doesn't come with all of its features. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. This mouse is a little bit more expensive, but it's pretty much the same price as Razer's mice have always been. So this one's not as outrageous as the Pro version of the keyboard, but we do have a lot of really cool things on this one. So again, we do have Bluetooth. We got 2.5 or 2.4 gigahertz. This one uses USB-C instead of using the dreaded micro B. It's a 35K optical sensor, Gen 2. It uses the optical switches on the mouse, which the other one did too. And it's got about 140 hours for its battery, along with lots and lots of RGB and goodness of that kind. There is also, I mentioned of this, and I kind of mentioned it, the ability to charge it wirelessly, but it doesn't come out of the box that way. You actually have to buy the upgrade kit to do it. And no, there is no bundle with it that I saw. So this has that wireless charging capability that would make the charging process a little bit less inconvenient. And this time they're using a Qi charger. I do not have that today. It was not available when I went to buy the mouse. So we're not looking at that. We're looking at the mouse itself, and we'll be judging it on that merit alone. So let's get right into it.
Okay, let's get into this box here. This is a pretty standard Razer box. There's a single pull tab, which has the nice little plastic release. Tons of info all over the box for this. And, oh, much like typical Razer, it is right here, front and center. And it does feel good in the hands. You can see right here, we actually have a hidden bay that we can use to both attach the optional Qi charger and store our dongle when we're moving around with it. So it feels really good. Very high quality, kind of weighted nicely. It looks like there's extra buttons on the bottom here. We'll take a look at what those are in a little bit. And in the front, there's a USB-C, which is nice and well appreciated. In the bottom here, we've got a dongle, which is also attached to a dongle. So we got double donglage here. And I'm assuming this is to be a dongle extender for the absolute speed that this mouse can pump out. And in this last little box here, we've got a USB cable. This looks like it's USB-C to USB-A. There's also an instruction manual. And the goal is to get this cable to the dongle and then the dongle to the mousing space.
Mouse is out of the box, and well, it actually feels pretty good. I mean, it glides about the same amount that it used to. The skates are a little bit bigger this time around. We've got these nice wide skates. There is a profile button at the bottom here. This is actually different than switching your DPI. Your DPI button is actually up at the top, along with the, and my favorite feature of this mouse, the ability to switch it to a not stepped scroll, but a free scroll, which pretty awesome. I like that feature. It's nice for this style of mouse. Now this mouse does kind of benefit from this kind of, I guess, claw-ish grip, not quite a claw grip. This one where you rest your hand on it. I don't know what it's called, but it conforms to my hand quite nicely. You have easy access to all of the buttons on the side, and there's actually another extra one right there. All these buttons are remappable except for the top two, but you do also have scroll left and scroll right, along with scroll up and down.
All right, let's take a look at the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro 35K in Razer Synapse. So this is the newest version of Synapse, which actually has these tabs like a web browser. It's actually kind of nicer than the old one. What's cool here is you actually have a lot of little things that you can change, like what these buttons do. These side buttons are particularly mappable. So if you've got a game that you want to play that has a weird button input, like Borderlands 1, where melee is on a really weird spot, you actually have the option to use these mouse buttons to make that a little bit less annoying. Grenade is also another one that's really good to map to these. And then this right now is set to sensitivity clutch, which allows you to slow down the mouse's sensitivity so that it can snipe a little bit better. It's kind of like a cheat mode. It's not considered cheating because a lot of mice have it, and a lot of people used to do like a DPI clutch, which is pretty much what it is. There's also the free spinning and tactical button, which is right up there, and you can see right here it shows you when it does it. Smart Reel is a feature I don't actually turn on. If you're scrolling a lot, it may switch it off to free spinning, and then scroll wheel acceleration, another performance thing. There is a hypershift mode for the mouse, which I'm assuming has to be activated by the keyboard, which could give you secondary functions on your mouse. I honestly have never tried it, but kind of cool. I could see that being an interesting feature to take advantage of. Now, performance settings. This thing's got a lot of them. So frequency is a 1000 hertz polling rate. It's the default, which this battery on this thing lasts. The keyboard and the mouse have been unplugged for a couple days, and you can see the keyboard's at 53%, where the mouse is at 97%. So this mouse will keep on trucking even with these settings turned on. And then these are the sensitivities, which is actually pretty cool that you can dial them in. You can also match your sensitivity through the calibration. Lighting. This is basic lighting. If you're turning this on, smart dimming will dim it down to 25%. All that's fun stuff for battery usage. And then if you go into Razer Chroma, you can see you actually have all these lighting zones, which is really nice. And you can do all sorts of effects. Chroma Studio is something that I'm pretty familiar with. You can set it to your own game. It's pretty awesome. Of course, since this is a mouse, you can do some calibration work on it. And this is more of a professional move. If you're a professional gamer and you need that professional power, this do well. I'm not a hover mouse gamer. I slide mine, so I never really have to deal with automatic asymmetric cutoff. But if you are that kind of person who really drags and doesn't want to lift your mouse at all, this is something that you can dial in. And of course you have power settings, which, enter sleep mode when idle for so long, low power mode, etc. Power settings are just to keep the battery going, so you don't have to plug it in. That being said, you can run this mouse entirely wired, and it performs really well in both wireless and wired connections.
Lots of inputs on this thing. And it is nice because Bluetooth means that I could connect it to a laptop or a Steam Deck or any of that kind of thing. And then the 2.4 mode would be for the computer. The wireless dongle is cute. It's actually more of a USB extension type situation where, again, much like the keyboard, you are intended to route your cable in a way that it can plug into the mouse and then be plugged into the dongle when it's not being used by the mouse. And with the mouse, you need a lot more travel than you would need on, say, a keyboard. But again, good news is you can charge and use the mouse at the exact same time. And the battery on this one's actually pretty good, to the point that I actually forget to charge it most of the time. It isn't until I get the battery notification that I plug it in. Performance-wise, it's solid. It's grippy. It feels good in the hands. I've never actually had a problem with my Basilisk, except for them just dying or having coffee poured into them. So let's just say I've always loved them. And the RGB on it looks amazing. Much like before, it unifies using Razer Synapse, and it works with the most recent version of Synapse. Really, not many changes were needed to make this mouse, well, good. Overall, it is one of my favorite mice, and I do recommend it if you are the kind of gamer who actually sits with their hands like this. It conforms, and while it is a bit heavier than the ultralight variants, I personally enjoy this, especially because I'm more of an immersion gamer than I am a competitive gamer. Now, if you were a competitive gamer, though, there are probably better options out there that are specifically designed to give you that extra speed when wrist flicking, where this probably would work. I mean, the friction's very low on it, but it is not going to be the apex of that league. But that's where I'm going to end it today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave it a like, maybe comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Wolfie, out.